I'm Elaine Birtch, and I am the wife of Alan Birtch. I have been in Springfield for 42 years. We moved here in 1972. We were living in Boston and had a very happy and active life. My husband Alan was very happy with what he was doing at the Peter Brigham, now called Brigham and Women's. He had all of his surgical training there, but then he was asked to be on the staff at Peter Brigham and the faculty at Harvard Medical School. We were both very happy. And he had a call one day from Roland Falls, who was his good friend from medical school, a classmate. And Roland told him about the medical school that was starting in Springfield. Now, Alan had already known about it. So anyway, Roland explained that he had come to Springfield to be chief of surgery and wondered if Alan would like to come and join him. I mean, I was shocked. I really never thought, and I think in some ways Alan never thought we'd leave Boston. Mostly as a courtesy to Roland, he came and looked at it. Of course, there wasn't much to look at, you can imagine, in 1972. He met some of the surgeons, he met Dick Moy, et cetera, and when he came back home, he really was excited about what was going to happen. Hazen had a dinner party, and we met some of the local surgeons, and Alan was very impressed with people like surgeons like Bob Patton and Jim Graham, John Denby, Jack Allen, all first-rate surgeons. So the more Alan thought about it, the more excited he got about starting something new. He told his friends that we would be moving to Springfield. I had a call from Dr. Francis Moore, who was the chief of surgery and Alan was very close to Alan. He said, "Elaine, did I hear this correctly?" I said, "Yes, Dr. Moore, and I'm not so sure how I feel about it because I don't want to leave Boston." But here we came. In April of 1972, the only people we knew in town were the Falses. And that was our beginning.
I came onto the scene later. I'm Marty Sumner. My husband is David Sumner. And we started out with the Birches and the Folses in medical school at Johns Hopkins in 1954, graduated in 1958. And then David did several years at Hopkins. One of our favorite professors was going to the University of Washington, Dr. Jim Cantrell. And he said, "David, why don't you come with me?" And also said the same thing to Roland. So the Folses and the Sumners headed for Seattle. Actually, we went on the same moving van. I think I got some dust from Hazen's vacuum cleaner in my things. And so we settled into there very happily. Neither of us had ever lived on the West Coast. We loved Seattle. The draft was still in process, and David found himself drafted into the U.S. Army. And so off we went to Alaska for 3 years. And then when we came back, Folses had already come to Springfield. So then David too got the call from Roland that they needed to set up the vascular service. Would he be interested? Well, I think like Elaine, we were very happy there. We had at that time 3 children. We had a lovely home on Mercer Island, right in the middle of Lake Washington. Many friends, but David's friend, Dr. Strandness, Jean, at that time was chief of vascular surgery and only 5 years older than David and probably would be chief forever. And David was interested in setting up a program the way he wanted. It was with some reluctance that we left that coast, but we had come earlier and had some lovely time with the Folses and the Birches. And so I knew I had 2 good friends and 2 good supporters here. And after that visit, I knew we would be okay.
I think one of the successes with David and Roland and Alan was that all 3 of them were happy where they were. Mm-hmm. You know, where they were located.
They made the choice.
It wasn't that the grass looked greener on the other side.
Yeah.
That wasn't it. I think it was they all were very excited with the idea of starting something new.
Yeah, they were interested in the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We never really discussed it. We simply had people to our home when we recruited, and we cooked the meals. And if we had a visiting professor, they came to our homes, and we often had them stay with us. And it was just a very cohesive feeling that we were building something here together.
I would say that Dick was very persuasive, and was probably another reason why Alan agreed to come, because as I said, Dick was very persuasive. He was absolutely the right person for the job when the medical school started.
Yes.
He knew how to deal with the people in the community. He knew how to deal with the state, because this is a state school, and he was absolutely, I think, the right person, and because of his enthusiasm.
I know that they all came with something they wanted to do, and they wanted to build it into a strong medical school, and I think that Alan was instrumental in doing the AOA chapter, and David very much wanted to get the fellowship program going, and that is a lot of paperwork and planning, but that was, they came wanting to build a strong medical school from the base, and they knew from their experience what it took. Yeah.
And they also knew that it would be a different kind of medical school than what they had come from. Alan wore a lot of hats, and I couldn't even tell you, but he was on the dean's staff. He was head of transplants. He was head of surgery at Memorial. And sometimes I thought, oh my gosh, how did he do that? All these things, that he had to do. But when he came home, he was able to sort of put that in a way, and then just concentrate on our 4 children. And that was a good thing, because he didn't talk much about what he was doing. I mean, I knew, but it wasn't the main topic of conversation. And also Alan was a very humble man, and he didn't dwell on, oh, I did this today or I did that today.
No.
So sometimes I found out what he was doing from other people.
Yeah, but the phone still rang a lot.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
The phone
In
rang a
fact,
lot.
somebody said to me, "You mean transplant patients actually call Alan on the phone?" I said, "Yes," and I can remember one of them who was calling from a bar.
Well, yes, and I can remember Christmas Eve, those calls. David, I think David's greatest, he didn't wear as many hats as Alan. He was concentrated in the vascular surgery, but I think his very proudest thing was the fellows program and the people that he trained there who have gone off to do work in other countries and work here, and he was very proud of that. He also loved writing. His textbook that he did, and the writing later for journals and editing, was a very important part of his life. And he found when he came home from work at 7, 8 maybe, and would have dinner. We always had dinner, regardless of what time. If he got home at 9, we had dinner. The kids would have a snack, and we always ate together. So he would eat dinner and spend some time with the kids and go to bed. And then he would get up about 2 o'clock in the morning, and he would write every morning from about 2 to 4 or 5. That was his quiet time. Most patients don't call in the middle of the night, so that was his writing time. And then he would go back and take the edge off that, calm down and sleep a couple more hours, and then get up and go to work. So that was the way he worked writing into his busy life. It was middle of the night writing.
I think this shows that each of the husbands had his own special gifts, and David's was certainly, writing was definitely one of them. Where Alan was not involved in that. Alan was much more involved in the residency program and setting up the residency program and working with the residents.
Right.
But it's wonderful that and we should include Roland in this too, because each one of them had their special
That's
gifts.
right. It's been interesting. In fact, it's been interesting how it worked, because that many years ago, and we still, the 3 of us, celebrate many things together. We celebrate birthdays, we celebrate holidays, and we're still very close friends.
The other thing, I think,
closest to
we
friends.
all got to know each other's families.
Yes.
I knew your parents, you knew mine, we knew Hazen's
that's right.
and Roland's.
It's been extended family.
That's right.
Is what it is.
That's
what
right.
It's been. Yeah.
The Sumners and Folses were always there, always ready to support me and to support Alan. It's been wonderful to have had all these friends in Springfield who supported us during this time. And Alan was not ill for as long as David was, so you had a much
longer
period.
course, yes. David retired in 1998, and not long after that, self-diagnosed himself with Parkinson's. He was watching his handwriting. With all the writing he loved, he realized his handwriting was getting really, really tiny, and some other symptoms. And so came into the kitchen one day and said, "I think I have Parkinson's," and that was in 1998. And I remember going to France with Hazen and Roland, and David was in a neck brace at that time, but everyone took time, and there was, I don't think it slowed anyone down. And so even though it was a long illness, we really didn't slow down until the last year or so.
David was very courageous.
Yeah.
Very courageous. Yeah. And one thing that I want to mention is that one of the residents came to my husband's funeral, and I said, oh, I saw him after the service, and I said, oh, how wonderful to see you. You know, is your family with you from Indiana? He said, no, my family's on vacation in Florida, and I flew here just for the funeral, and now I've got to catch a plane back to Florida. It brought tears to my eyes, how the depth of the affection that
Yes,
this resident had.
The tie
Yeah.
that they. Yeah, I feel that. It wasn't that David came here and Alan came here. We came, and we were very much a partnership.
I think that's a good word.
Yes, that we were right in there with them. We were excited about the prospect.
Well,
too.
I think
Yeah.
what I think that shows is that all three of us have had wonderful marriages, and
Yes.
that
Yes.
we wanted to be part of what was going on here,
And they wanted us.
and they wanted us, right?